Published in 1966, Chike and the River is Chinua Achebe's only children's novel. It tells the story of a young Nigerian boy named Chike, who leaves his village for the city and dreams of crossing the mighty river Niger. Chike, a young boy of about 11 years old, lives in Umuofia, a small village in eastern Nigeria. His father is dead, and he is raised by his mother. Chike is curious, lively, and full of imagination. Like many children in rural settings, he dreams of life beyond his small world, of adventure, prosperity, and the wonders of the city. When he is offered the chance to go and live with his uncle in Onitsha, a large town on the banks of the river Niger, he is thrilled. Onitsha is a bustling commercial city, and the river has a legendary presence in the minds of children from the village. For Chike, going to Onitsha is a step into the unknown, filled with the promise of freedom and exploration. Upon arrival in Onitsha, Chike is overwhelmed by the size, noise, and speed of city life. He is awestruck by tall buildings, busy streets, and the sight of the great river Niger, far bigger and more majestic than he had ever imagined. He begins attending school and settles into life with his uncle, who is strict and cautious, believing the city is full of dangers. Despite this, Chike is determined to explore and, above all, to fulfill his dream of crossing the river. The river becomes a symbol for him, not just a body of water, but a challenge to be conquered and a gate to the world beyond. However, crossing the river is not easy. The fare for the ferry is 6 pence, which Chike cannot afford. He begins to search for ways to earn the money. Chike's desire to cross the river leads him into a series of misadventures and life lessons. He gets involved with a group of boys who promise to help him earn money through odd jobs. Some of these jobs involve gambling and trickery, particularly with a boy named Sog, a charismatic but dubious figure. Chike is drawn to the thrill of these adventures but remains internally conflicted about what's right. One day, after finally managing to save enough for the ferry, Chike crosses the river. However, the experience is far from the fantasy he imagined. On the other side of the river, Chike encounters real danger. He is lured by Sog into a robbery scheme, which goes wrong. Chike narrowly escapes being caught by the police. Shaken and disillusioned, he realizes that the river's other side is not a land of magic and fortune, but one of temptation and real-world consequences. Chike returns safely to Onitsha, his dream fulfilled but his innocence shaken. He has learned that bravery is not just about chasing thrills. It's about knowing when to say no, who to trust, and how to take responsibility. He resumes his studies, focuses on school, and grows into a wiser version of himself. In the end, Chike has crossed not just a river but a threshold into maturity. He remains full of curiosity, but now his dreams are tempered by experience. Character analysis. Chike is an intelligent, curious, and brave young boy. His journey is both physical, from Umuofia to Onitsha to across the river Niger, and emotional, from innocence to awareness. His resilience and determination make him a compelling protagonist. What makes Chike particularly realistic is that he makes mistakes, gets into trouble, and is tempted, but he learns from his experiences. Uncle. Chike's uncle is a responsible but overprotective adult who sees danger in the city. He serves as a foil to Chike's adventurous spirit. While he is not warm or affectionate, he does care for Chike's well-being and represents the voice of caution and reason. Themes. Coming of age. The central theme of Chike and the river is the coming-of-age journey. Chike's dream of crossing the river is a metaphor for his transition from boyhood to manhood. At the start, he is idealistic and naive. By the end, he is still hopeful but more cautious and aware. Achebe illustrates how real growth involves disillusionment, learning from mistakes, and accepting that the world is not always as magical as we imagine. Rural versus urban life. Achebe contrasts the simplicity of village life with the complexity of the city. Umuofia is portrayed as small and traditional, with strong community ties. Onitsha, by contrast, is fast-paced, dangerous, and full of temptations. This tension mirrors broader African realities: rural to urban migration, generational differences, and the challenges of modernization. Dreams versus reality. Chike's desire to cross the river is filled with romantic notions of adventure and discovery. However, the reality involves risk, betrayal, and danger. Achebe suggests that while dreaming is essential, young people must be prepared to face the consequences of pursuing those dreams. The river is not just water, it's a symbol of the unknown, of life's possibilities and perils. Morality and choices. Throughout the novel, Chike is faced with choices, some tempting, some dangerous. Achebe subtly teaches that morality is not always black and white, and growing up involves learning how to navigate morally gray areas. Chike's decision to walk away from SOG's criminal plan marks a turning point in his personal development. Social class and inequality. Achebe also touches on economic inequality, especially in the city. Chike's inability to afford sixpence for the ferry highlights the challenges faced by poor children. The story suggests that access to opportunity, symbolized by crossing the river, is not equal, and those without money or connections must struggle harder. Language and style. Achebe's prose is clear, accessible, and rhythmic, reflecting his intention to write for younger readers while maintaining literary richness. He draws on oral storytelling traditions, using repetition, moral lessons, and vivid imagery to make the story both engaging and instructive. The tone is light-hearted in places but turns serious when Chike encounters danger, mirroring his emotional journey.